Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. April 30th, 2018.
The Kuhner Report is powered by Kelly Financial Services. Cleaning up your financial bull. Get the peace of mind that you deserve at Kelly Financial Services.
They came, they saw, and they crossed. Sort of. Okay, my friends, that caravan that began at the Guatemala-Mexican border, it's kind of reached a climax, almost an anticlimax. So here is now exactly what has taken place. As you know, it's been going on now for over a month. They went through the Mexican border. The Mexicans allowed them to come in. They went all the way up to the northern border, El Norte. They are now on the verge of crossing the San Diego sector. And so over the weekend, about 1,000 illegal migrants were waiting to essentially bum rush the pedestrian bridge linking Mexico to the San Diego sector of the California border. Well, it kind of fell apart over the weekend. Here is the absolute latest. Many of the migrants, there is a border fence there, a metal border fence. Many of them actually scaled the fence. And they were just sitting on top of the fence, all of them chanting, "Gracias, Mexico." Thank you, Mexico. And some of them just illegally crossed. I mean, you have cameras showing they crossed and they just ran off into the desert. So some have actually just crossed illegally into the desert. Others do not want to just cross into the desert, cross the border. They want to actually apply for asylum status. And so what they did was, according to the Associated Press, they stayed on the Mexican side of the border. Looking across, they could see the San Diego side of the border. And then hundreds of these migrants, men, women, children, began singing, because most of them are from Honduras, they began singing the Honduran national anthem. To which then they had supporters on the American side, groups, open borders groups that invited them to come, wanted them to come, lawyered them up, gave them an army of lawyers so they can file their petition forms for asylum. They gave them food, drinking water, shelter, everything. They were cheering back in return, waving the Honduran flag from the American side of the border. So you had pro-illegal immigrant, open borders advocates, Puebleras Sin Frontera, waiting for them, waving the Honduran flag, as the Hondurans on the other side, I swear to you, were singing the Honduran national anthem as they try now to cross into the American border. They cross the American border. Now, the Border Patrol agents told them that they're not taking any more asylum seekers today. They said that they've hit their quota of 50. All they want to do is 50. They're not going to do 400, 500, 600 of them, that they're going to have to wait. And so now they are waiting on the Mexican side of the border until tomorrow, when they say they're going to cross again and apply for asylum status. Now, the Border Patrol agents are saying, well, we're not going to take any more, at least for a while. Some have already crossed illegally. They're not even bothering with asylum. They've made it. They've crossed illegally. But the asylum seekers say they will not be deterred. They're going to come back tomorrow. They were going to come back Wednesday. They're going to come back Thursday until every single one of them is detained and then processed by the Border Patrol and by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which then will have to hold them for 24 to 48 hours. Then they will have to release them into the general public here in the United States, and there will be a court date many years down the road. It takes at least 2 or 3 years to get a court date. and they'll come back for the hearing. They probably won't. Once they release them, they're gone. They're gone. So basically, they've come, they came, they saw, they crossed. At least some of them did. And as I was telling Jared in our pre-show meeting, I said, you know, Jared, I don't know if I was them, I don't know what's the better thing to do. Just cross illegally, just run into the desert and that's it, never to be found again, or to apply for asylum. Because if you apply for asylum, they actually know your name. We know your name. And that could create problems if you want document fraud or whatever it is. You apply for welfare. They could potentially track you through your name. So to be honest with you, if I was part of that migrant caravan, I would have done what those border jumpers did. I would have just run off into the desert. And I would have done what they did, to be fair to them. I would have gone to the top of the border fence, as they did, with their V for Victory signs. They were waving V for Victory. Some of them were waving the Honduran flag. And I would say, gracias, Mexico. I would say, really, thank you, Mexico. You allowed us to come in. You allowed us to come in illegally. You allowed us to go on buses and trains all the way up through Mexico to El Norte. And because of you, we're now here. And literally, they were taking selfies and pictures. And then they went down on the American side of the border from the fence, and they just ran off into the desert. Now, the asylum seekers, what I would do to me, I don't want them to know my name, but that really doesn't matter, because once you apply for asylum, then what they're going to do is many of them are going to go to California, which is a sanctuary state. San Diego, they're already waiting for them. Hell, they're already waving the Honduran flag. So go meet the ones with the waving your flag, and they'll take you in, and they'll get you housing, welfare, EBT, Medicaid, food stamps, Section 8 housing, all of it taken care of by the American taxpayer, and get a driver's license. You can get a fake social security number. What the hell? At this point, what difference does it make? And tell the Democrats you want to vote Democrat, and they'll let you stay. So really, doesn't matter. You want to do the asylum route, or you want to just run into the desert. Personally, I don't like a paper trail. I would just do if I'm advising them, I'd say just run in and don't even bother. This way, you can fake all kinds of ID and they won't be able to track it. You're getting amnesty anyway, so what the hell do you care? So the question now is, where are they going to go? Many say they want to stay in California. Of course, it's a sanctuary state. Others, however, are saying there's two states they really want to go to. It's cold. It's much colder than it is in Guatemala or Honduras or El Salvador. And they have MS-13 as well, so they kind of makes them feel at home. But anyway, it's the weather that bothers them. New York and Massachusetts. A lot of MS-13 in New York. MS-13 is now establishing a presence here in Massachusetts. So it's too cold, but there is MS-13. There's a lot of sanctuary cities. For example, you can live in Chelsea and, not learn a word of English. You can live in Lawrence, not learn a word of English. Increasingly, Lynn, Salem, you don't need English. No parle español. And the welfare benefits are second to none. And so I kid you not, I'm serious. I mean, I'm kind of joking a little bit with the cold weather and stuff, but I kid you not, many of them are being advised that if you want the best, highest, most lucrative welfare benefits, Massachusetts and New York is at the top of the list. You will get $50,000 to $54,000 worth of welfare benefits every year. California is slightly less. You're going to get about $4,000 or $5,000 less. However, it's warmer. Everybody there speaks Spanish, and you're in a sanctuary state. Plus, you don't have to travel all the way, even more El Norte. You're there. So most of them are going to stay in California. Some of them, however, will be arriving in New York, New Jersey, and of course, the People's Republic of Massachusetts. So if you see a surge in the next week or two of Guatemalan, Honduran, or El Salvadorian illegal immigrants, that's the migrant caravan. That's them. So Caesar famously said, I saw, I came, I saw, I conquered. The illegals now say, we came, we saw, we crossed. The National Guard did nothing. The Border Patrol is completely overrun. The Mexican government aided and abetted them every step of the way, up to and including, listen to this, they gave them red and white school buses so they wouldn't walk in the heat, and drove them with a police escort right up to the border with San Diego. That's San Diego sector. The flags, I don't know who gave them the flags on the Mexican side. On the American side, of course, that was George Soros and Pueblos Sin Frontera, however you pronounce it, basically Nations Without Borders. They lawyered them up, they fed them, they clothed them, and then they were waving the Honduran flag as they were singing the Honduran national anthem, which to me begs the ultimate question. If you love Honduras so much, go back to Honduras. And that's the other thing. As they're crossing into our country, allegedly for asylum, quote unquote, you're not waving the American flag? I mean, just for the symbolism of it. Don't you want to at least pretend like you love America? Don't you want to at least pretend to say you're grateful to America? To our face. It's sort of like what Michelle Wolf did, you know, to everybody's faces at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. To our face. Puh. Puh. Dumb gringo. Hey, gringo. We want the welfare, the EBT, the free housing, the food, the free health care, the free education, hand it all over, maybe some jobs that we can get under the table, steal some jobs from some Americans, and we still wave the Honduran flag. Blank you. What this is, forgive me, my friends, is a giant middle finger to President Trump, to Jeff Sessions, and to the United States of America. They are now openly undermining and flouting the rule of law, and they are overwhelming our immigration system. And America has now been revealed to be a complete paper tiger. There is nothing that we are doing to stop them. Nothing. Except for a few Border Patrol guards who are trying to tell them, we've reached our cap, we've reached our quota, you can't come in because we've already processed 50 and we can't do more than 50 a day. So all they're going to do is wait us out. They'll come back tomorrow, they'll come back Wednesday, they'll come back Thursday, and before you know it, they're going to break that bottleneck and they're all going to be allowed to come in. What you're seeing is the end of our border on the, with Mexico. And the message is now out. You come in with a caravan, and there's nothing Uncle Sucker can do to stop you. My friends, this is an invasion. And the way I'm looking at it from here in Boston, the invaders are winning. 617-266-6868. Let me ask you this double-barreled question. Number one, if you were one of those illegal aliens, would you have just crossed into the border, crossed the border into the desert, not even apply for asylum status? Or would you apply for asylum status? That's number one. Number two, if you're an illegal, where would you go? California? Texas, Oregon, pretty liberal, Pacific Northwest, generous with their welfare benefits, a lot of sanctuary cities, Portland in particular, they love illegals. Or would you go all the way up to New York and even here in Massachusetts? Where would you go? For me, I always go where the most money is. I'm not into sunshine. I'm not into weather. I don't need sun all year round. The Four Seasons doesn't bother me. I want the most money, the most bang for my money. $54,000 is what you get in Massachusetts. I would go to the People's Republic of Massachusetts. From here, they cover you the full Tsarnaev, from cradle to grave. My money is come to Mass. 617-266-6868. What would you do if you were an illegal? Your reaction next. 225 here on the great WRKO. You can text us as always to WRKO, so we know it's for us. Whatever your message is, 70470, 7470. This is from 617. Jeff, here's the slogan. We came, we crossed, we collected. Bingo. And so my question to you is, now that the migrant caravan is basically, well, it's, how do I say this? Some have already crossed the border. Others are applying for asylum. It's here. They've essentially crossed or they're about to cross. If you were them, A, would you just run into the desert as some of them did? Or would you actually apply for asylum? And B, where would you go? Many say they're going to stay in California. Others are being urged to go all the way, even more El Norte, to New York State or Massachusetts, because we have the most lucrative, generous welfare benefits in the country, especially for illegals. I'm a money guy. To me, forget the warm weather. If I can make $4,000 or $5,000 more, stiffing the taxpayers in Massachusetts, I'd go to Mass. Probably, I'm thinking
WRKO.
I'm thinking Cambridge. Maybe Macho Marty. I can stay in the mayor's office for free. Chelsea. I like Chelsea. And Lawrence, to me, is always a winner. 617-266-6868. Barbara in Reading. You're up next. Go ahead, Barbara.
Yes, I'm telling you, number one, other presidents have used tear gas and bullets, and that I recommend number one. Number two, as far as that wolf, I would sue her pants right off her back. That's all I have to say.
Barbara, thank you very much for that call. I appreciate it. This is from 617. Jeff, plus, if you come to Massachusetts, you can commit more than 100 crimes and still wander the streets. You see what I'm saying, 617? You and I are now on the same wavelength. That's another thing I'd be telling them. I go, look, they're easy on you in California, but nothing beats the People's Republic of Massachusetts. 112 crimes you can commit, and they'll still leave you alone. Celtics are doing great. The Bruins are doing great. Red Sox are red hot. Patriots are perennial contenders. And it's all in Spanish. You can watch it all in Spanish. I go, come on down to Boston or come on up to Boston. Believe me, your welfare check goes farther here than anywhere else. Donna, you're up next. Thanks for holding and welcome.
Oh, Jeff, thanks for taking my call.
Hi, Donna.
I have a quick question about the asylum caravan.
Yes.
So if they come over, they get asylum, are they properly vetted for vaccinations or what the status of their health is?
No.
TB or anything?
No.
So they just let them in without any sort of medical exam?
Well, what they do is this, Donna. They hold them for 24 hours. Mm-hmm. Where we give them meals, nutrition, hydration, showers, clothes. Then, so we pay for all that. Then they sit down with an immigration officer, one screening, where they're asked about their asylum claims. Why are you claiming asylum? That's why they've been lawyered up. The lawyers tell them how to fudge or lie about their stories to make them seem like genuine refugees or asylum seekers. Then they're given paperwork saying, okay, you can, you're fine, you can leave now. We actually pay for their bus tickets to where they want to go. And then we tell them they have to appear at a certain court date. Usually it's 2 or 3 years from now. And 99.9% of them never come back. They don't appear in court. So that's why I'm asking, obviously I'm being tongue-in-cheek, but if you were them, would you just run into the desert? Or would you actually apply for asylum?
Oh, I'd apply.
Well, yeah, you can go both ways on this, Donna. Look, you get
right.
Water, food, soft drinks, clothes, a bus ticket. That's not bad. On the other hand, though, they do know your name, Donna. And I'm thinking if I want to forge documents and, I don't know, work under the table, collect welfare, which is technically illegal, it could create problems. That's why, Donna, I'm old-fashioned. I just sneak in and that's it. Nobody knows I'm here. And I go to Massachusetts and I collect the welfare. You know what I'm saying, Donna?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a shame that they don't vet them for medical issues.
Well, no, that's why all these diseases are popping up, because we keep allowing so many illegals to come in, and they're putting their kids in school, which is putting our kids in danger. Right. So they're killing us every way possible. But that's okay. We saw it on TV. The cameras were there. It was 6 weeks. And, I don't know what else to tell you. Where's the National Guard? I don't know. Where's the Border Patrol? I don't know. Where's the wall? I've been waiting for this wall now for nearly 2 years. Where's the wall? I don't know. All I know is you can look at the pictures. They stood on the fence, waving the Mexican flag. They were sitting on it. And they were saying, Gracias, Mexico, waving V for victory. And they just jumped the fence and ran into the desert. The asylum seekers were singing the Honduran national anthem. And on the American side, Americans showed up, La Raza, all these people, and they were waving the Honduran flag. So there you go. It was a Honduran love fest, but on our dime. 617-266-6868. Okay. A U.S. service member is killed in Afghanistan. Angela Anderson is in the RKO newsroom. She has all of those details. Take it away, Angela. 2:36 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, 617-266-6868. We came, we crossed, we collected. As one of the texters put it, the migrant caravan has now crashed or careened into the border. Some of these migrants, several hundred of them, just literally just crossed the border. They just ran into the desert and never to be seen again. Others are waiting to apply for asylum. The Border Patrol is now telling them they can only process 50 a day. They say they're going to wait however long it takes, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They say they're all going to get their asylum applications processed, whether we like it or not. And once they're processed, they're released into the general public. And many say they're going to go to California, San Diego. A lot of them want to stay in San Diego. You already have people waving the Honduran flag, Americans, telling them, we want you, come. Others are being advised by the lawyers, if you can, stand the cold, go even further El Norte, and they're telling them New York City or Massachusetts. Why? Because we have the most lavish welfare benefits. We do 54, depends, 53, 54. New York State also does 52, 53. So you want the biggest bang for your buck? Come all the way here. Plus, I've got to tell you, Boston, the last 10 years, in terms of the food business, it's had a renaissance. You like good ethnic food, Boston is the place to be. So if I were these Hondurans or Guatemalans, hey, you want to eat well? You want to collect a lot of welfare? And plus, our sports teams right now, red hot. 617-266-6868. This is from 978. Jeff, I am dumbfounded by our elected officials not upholding the oath of their office. My father did top secret and above top secret work to keep this country safe. He is now 85 and sometimes unable to get the proper care that he needs. A former captain in the Marine Corps. If Trump doesn't get this straight, he has lost me. Well, first of all, I want to thank your father for his service to our country. He is a dying breed of patriots. That is the obvious point. Number two, this is the problem with illegal immigration. It costs us now so much. Just in Massachusetts alone, $2 billion every year. Just in welfare and free health care benefits. That there's nothing left, say, for the VA, for the care of our veterans, for Americans who really need help. Genuine Americans who need real help, whether it be food stamps or health care or education or whatever, because the illegals are crowding everyone else out. But, you know, that's the price of compassion now, according to the libs. This is from another 617. Jeff, we should help the caravan and escort them right across the Canadian border. I hear you, 617, but you're not going to believe this. Canada will not admit one illegal immigrant. Even though it's one of the most liberal countries in the West, they have a liberal government with a liberal prime minister. They will not accept any single illegal immigrant. You know why? Because what the Canadian left argues, think about this, is that the welfare state in Canada, with its government-run healthcare, is so freaking expensive that it would be cheating the Canadian taxpayer to allow illegals to come in and use the system that's designed for Canadian citizens. So even Canadian lefties do not believe in open borders and admitting any illegal that just wants to come in. Only our left does that. Only the American left has these insane policies. But, you know, I don't know what else to tell you. Listen, I guess we can afford it until we can't. 617-266-6868. Let me throw one more log on the fire. So, it's not just that you can have over 100 criminal charges and still walk the streets. It's not just that you can stay for free in Marty Walsh's office at the mayor, where the mayor is in Boston. It's not just you can stay in places like Chelsea or Lawrence, never learn a word of English, like you never left Honduras or Guatemala. It's not just the free health care, the free education, the EBT, the welfare checks, the food stamps, Section 8 housing. Everyone's paying through the nose for their housing in this city and state, not the illegals, okay? It's not just the Celtics are red hot, the Bruins are red hot, the Patriots are always red hot, and the Red Sox, a lot of them from Central America like baseball. You love baseball, the Red Sox have the best record. But it's more than that. You can also protest to no end. If you love nonstop protests, this is the state or the Commonwealth for you. And that's why I'm urging those illegals, forget California, forget New York, you want to come here. Don't believe me? Listen now to this. I mean, basically now the students are walking out almost every day. It depends, it's the rotating school by school and the reason changes. Listen to this. So, students at Lincoln Sudbury Regional High School today walked out of school. Why did the students, Jeff, why did the students at Lincoln Sudbury Regional High School walk out of class today, disrupting the learning environment, ruining it for all the other students? Because they are protesting a story that first appeared in the Moonbat Globe, John Henry's newspaper, which detailed or showed, allegedly, that school district officials allegedly did not handle properly complaints from a former 15-year-old student who said she was sexually assaulted during a football game nearly 5 years ago in November 2013. So, according to the Globe article, They claim, backing up the student's family's lawsuit, that the school dismissed her complaints, mishandled her complaints, didn't take her complaints seriously enough, and so they are now launched in a federal lawsuit. The Globe is backing this student in her federal lawsuit along with her family, and so the students are very upset about this. Even though, according to the school, the Sudbury police was notified, they conducted an investigation, they don't believe there were grounds for charges to be filed. School officials apparently investigated the allegations. They thought there were no grounds for charges to be filed. And employees tied to the federal government regarding Title IX, which prevents sexual discrimination against women, against girls, they also investigated and thought there weren't grounds for charges to be filed. So even though multiple people looked into this and didn't think this warranted indictments or charges, it doesn't matter. They want to protest something that happened over 5 years ago. Apparently was at a football game near the student bleachers, where this girl claims that two boys sexually took advantage of her and assaulted her. She's now as I said, in a legal suit. She claims that she has text messages from these two boys admitting what they did and asking her for forgiveness and for her silence. So the lawsuit proceeds. Now, whatever you think of this story, whether you think the girl was wronged by the school, whether you think she's wrong to be pushing a lawsuit, whatever you think about this story, I'm asking myself an obvious question. Why are students protesting? Why is the superintendent of this school, Bella Wong, telling the students they have a right to protest, allegedly under freedom of assembly? You have art teachers that are encouraging the students to walk out. You have English teachers who are encouraging these students to walk out. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, hold on. If there was a sexual assault that took place nearly 5 years ago, and if there was a miscarriage of justice, that's not your business. With all due respect, it isn't. That's the business of the alleged victim, of her family, of school officials, of people involved with Title IX, of the police, in other words, of the parents and of the families involved. They can take care of this. They can adjudicate this. We don't need the students getting involved about an alleged crime or non-crime that occurred over 5 years ago. You know, this is not the only school where there's been allegations of sexual assault. The high school that I went to, one girl said that she was allegedly sexually assaulted. And the police came in, they had to conduct an investigation. Another student committed suicide. I mean, you know, things happen in high school. Yet you have all of these snowflakes literally complaining, saying, how come we weren't told about this? How come this occurred 5 years ago and now we weren't told that this is taking place? That this alleged incident took place and we believe the school covered it up. And I'm thinking, your job is to go to school. Your job is to study. Your job is to be focused on the classroom. Since when did school become a training session for left-wing political activism or for social justice warriors? Because if you want to start protesting anything that happens on a school campus, you could be protesting every day. I mean, so now we protest gun violence. Now we protest gun control. Others are now protesting abortion. Some are pro-life. They say we got to protest now on behalf of pro-life. Now they want to protest an alleged sexual assault that they say was covered up 5 years ago. Guys, we can be protesting every day. I mean, Bibi Netanyahu now has just come out, I'm going to cover the story tomorrow, saying that Iran has had a secret nuclear weapons program, and now they have the goods on it. So you want to protest that we should bomb Iran? You want to protest that we shouldn't bomb Iran? I mean, students can be protesting all the time. They're not there to protest. They're not there to do politics. You want to do politics? That's fine. You do it after school hours. You do it on your time and on your dime. But not when the taxpayer is footing the bill. Not when people's kids are going to that school, because they have a right to learn and they have a right not to have their learning environment disrupted. But if you're an illegal immigrant and you like constant protests and you like constant nonstop activism, come on down. It's never boring here in the People's Republic of Massachusetts. They love to protest everything and anything, nonstop, including this hashtag Me Too movement protest. So let me ask you this double barrel question. Number one, if you're an illegal from that caravan, what state would you go to? Number two, at Lincoln Sudbury High School, the students walked out again today, this time protesting an alleged sexual assault that they say was covered up nearly 5 years ago. Should students be protesting what occurred in the past? Is this now a complete hijacking of the education mission of a school? 617-266-6868. Should students just stop protesting, shut up, and learn? Agree, disagree, your calls. Next. 2:54 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, you can text us as always to WRKO, whatever your message is, 70470, 7470. This is from 617. Jeff, the town of Sudbury is overwhelmingly liberal. There's even a movement to make Sudbury now a sanctuary city. Question 44 on the ballot. Most of my very large quarterly property tax bill goes to fund that Taj Mahal called Lincoln Sudbury High School. Well, I'll tell you what, 617, since they want to become now a sanctuary city, I recommend that those illegals that are crossing the border from the caravan, send them right on up to Sudbury. Get all the welfare you want, and then their kids can join those Moonbat kids, and they can keep protesting every day. They can just keep walking out of schools. I mean, what the hell? I mean, if the libs love the illegals so much, we should send the illegals to every liberal city and town in Massachusetts and across America. You want them, you got them. Russ in Boston, you're up next. Go ahead, Russ.
Jeff, the last thing I want to bring up is the biggest political story in Massachusetts over the weekend. First of all, what they should do is increase the questioning. Also, they should be interviewed by people that are experts in body language, and they should only process 5 a day. If they only process 5 a day, now Mexico would be responsible for feeding these people and giving them shelter, and they'd eventually shut the spigot off because they couldn't afford it. So that's the one way to accomplish this, because we have scumbag, hack judges that don't do their job. And, Jeff, the biggest story over the weekend, the conservative delegates at the Republican convention held their ground, said, bleep you, Charlie. 28% of them voted for Dr. Scott Lively. And now Charlie Baker is going to have a challenger in the primary. And Charlie's going to be exposed for what he is. And basically, what is he? He's a puppet on a string for the Speaker of the House. That's basically what it is. And I'll tell you, Scott Lively is a great candidate, and I myself am going to donate $100 to his campaign because I want to see Charlie sweat this out.
Russ, I agree with you, and thank you for that call. I'm going to have Scott Lively on this week, and I'm going to back him all the way against Baker. We need a strong conservative primary challenger, and Scott Lively's the man. And I hope he gives Baker the run of his life. I hope he gives him a run for his money. Because believe me, Charlie Faker betrayed you, betrayed me, and betrayed all of us. Jerry on the Cape, you're up next. Go ahead, Jerry.
Comrade,
how you are, my friend?
Raspoyet. I'm well. Comrade, this whole thing, the seeds, the sunlight, and the water was provided by Barack Hussein Obama, this recent group of young people. He encouraged all this. He encouraged all of this while he was in office. In academia, they have nurtured all of this. They should be there to teach, Jeff, as you know. But exceptionalism doesn't count anymore. It's more of a collectivism thing. But, Jeff, as far as the border goes, the president should put forth an executive order on a national emergency on our border. No more asylum applications based on religious or political persecution. We are no longer accepting that as a valid means of requesting entrance into the United States. And as far as the White House dinner goes, Jeff, it's a funny dichotomy. Good is now evil, and evil is good now. I would rather be in the basket of deplorables than that bucket of despicables, Jeff.
Oh, Jerry, I'm with you. And look, I mean, to me, have we lost our country?
Yes.
When you have a caravan of migrants, Jerry, who've been advertising and telegraphing for 6 weeks they're going to cross our border. They come to our border. You see them scale the fence, and they're sitting on top of the fence, giving Trump the middle finger, waving the V for victory sign, waving the Mexican flag, saying, Gracias, Mexico. Then they just go right back down, they jump off the fence, and they run off into our country. Jerry, am I missing something?
No, you're not missing anything. The other thing that Pueblo Sin Fronteras admitted during the course of this caravan is that many of these people have serious medical issues in response to what Donna was talking about before.
Incredible. Incredible. So they're bringing in diseases and God knows illnesses, and you know who has to pay for all of it? You and me. Secure that border. Secure it now. Build the wall. I gotta go. Bye-bye.
The Kuhner Report is powered by Kelly Financial Services. 888-800-1881. Get the peace of mind that you deserve at Kelly Financial Services. The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 100.7 WZLX HD2 Boston, an iHeart radio station.